Welcome back to In Focus, South Carolina. We've been chatting with Congressman James Clyburn about his time in office, as well as some recent headlines. We caught up with him at a back-to-school event in Santee, South Carolina. Here's more of our conversation. The president's so-called Big Beautiful Bill has really put healthcare, access to healthcare front and center. You have been very outspoken, a critic of this bill. Why so?
Because the bill is one of, if not the worst pieces of legislation I've ever encountered since I've been in the Congress. It is a reverse Robin Hood. Here we are taking health care from elderly people, taking food stamps from needy people, closing rural hospitals. We've already gotten an announcement that the 6 community health centers here in South Carolina think that they will now have to close. And the money that we are taking from these entities, we are allowing a big tax break. He calls it, the president, a big, beautiful bill. I call it the ugliest thing I've seen government ever do.
And on the flip side of that, I believe I was reading on your Facebook, you were praising the 60th anniversary of the passing of Medicare and Medicaid.
Absolutely.
And you called that one of the biggest successes this country has ever seen.
And I first started reading about Lyndon Baines Johnson. People asked, everybody thought he was a Southerner from Texas. Thought he would be a kind of president, but he turned out to be just the opposite of what they thought. And I found out why. He started his professional career as a public school teacher in southern Texas. And he wrote about how he saw these hungry kids want to learn and what that did for him. And that's where Head Start came from. Medicaid came from. And so I think one of the things to me is a lot of people think the way they think and act the way they do because they have not had the kind of experiences some of us have had. And I think that's what's wrong with this president we got. He doesn't know what it is to stand in front of a classroom and watch a hungry child try to learn, or a child in need of glasses and they can't afford them. And therefore they fail in their educational pursuits, not because they're not intelligent, because they're not healthy.
We've seen town halls in the last few months get a lot of attention, make a lot of headlines. What are you hearing from your constituents here in your district about what's happening at the federal level when it comes to Medicaid, Medicare, access to health care?
Disbelief, fear, anger is all wrapped up. We're talking about people who understand where they are in life, but who really feel that if I get an education, I can better myself. I can climb out of whatever position I'm in into the middle class. And what they see is a dissolution of the middle class that they long for. And what does that mean? They are low wealth today, and they're not going to be millionaires tomorrow. But what they are going through, suffering. We call ourselves Christians. You know, I know the Bible pretty well. Matthew 25, it says we are going to be judged by how we treat the least among us, not the wealthiest. So what do we get from our religion that our judgment will be based upon how rich we can make the richest? Especially when you do it at the expense of the poets.
Congressman, you are currently serving your 17th term in Congress. First off, has that time flown by?
Yes, it has, but I think people tend not to take into account. I was 52 years old when I got elected. I asked somebody, nobody talks about why it was that people across town from me were getting elected when they were 22 and 25 years old. Why it was I didn't get elected until I was 52. Well, the law wouldn't allow me to get elected until I was 52. And every time someone says to me, "Well, don't you think it's time for a younger person?" I said, yeah, it was the time for a younger person when I was young. But the law did not allow it for me. So why don't we talk about that, especially when we see attempts being made today to revisit that law. We see it going on in Texas right now with a president asking the people of Texas to change the law to go back to what it was when old Jim Clyburn couldn't get elected. Nobody's talking about that.
What initially inspired you to get into politics? Was that it?
Brown v. Board of Education. The people over in Somerton, right across the lake from where we are right now, Mrs. Harry, Mr. Harry, Mrs. Liza Briggs. I got involved in the NAACP when I was 12 years old, and I've been involved ever since.
Sticking with civil rights, you've really been an advocate for civil rights. Do you think the political shift happening right now in our country, are we backtracking right now?
Absolutely. There's no question about that. It's clear. But it's not the first time we've backtracked. And what I try to tell people all the time, people ask me a lot, hey, have you ever seen it like this before? No. It's only because I wasn't alive back in 1876 when it happened just like it's happening now. Jim Crow came because the country backtracked on the Emancipation Proclamation. That's what it was. That was a backtrack. In fact, they called themselves redeemers. The people who ran the politics in South Carolina were called redeemers. And the reason they were called redeemers is because they said they wanted to redeem the South to its pre-Civil War days. And so that's what it was all about. So none of this is new. I just finished writing my third book. It's going to be released in November. Pre-sales are taking place as we speak. And it's about the first 8. I called it the first 8. And it's about those 8 African Americans from South Carolina that served in Congress before me. But the book is about what they endured, and then why 95 years between number 8 and number 9. So I'm the 9th African American, but there are 95 years between the 8th and the 9th, because the country backtracked.
Still a lot more ahead here on In Focus South Carolina. Did you get a backpack?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
The Congressman helps hundreds of children prepare for a successful school year ahead. Details when In Focus South Carolina continues.